This news picture carried by Pakistan's Dawn newspaper shows that Iranian legislators are raising their hands during the speech of economy minister in Majlis or parliament before Sunday's vote that saw his impeachment. Masood is the second member of President Rouhani's cabinet to be impeached this month. Labour Minister Ali Rabai was removed on August 8. That Iran's economy is in dire straits is a fact. The critics of President Rouhani have argued, and I believe they have plausibly argued, that he squandered the opportunities that the 2015 nuclear deal had thrown up for the Islamic Republic. He has also been criticized for failing to devise an effective strategy to deal with the rising challenges of inflation and unemployment in Iran. Many companies from Europe, particularly those from France and Germany, have left Iran after US President Donald Trump made his country's unilateral withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal. The situation is very grim in Iran. Let's look at some of the indicators of the Islamic Republic. Iran's growth rate is 4%, which is much below than what it was 2 years ago. It was over 10% then. Its inflation rate is 12.1%, while unemployment rate is 13.1%. The size of government's stock is nearly 54% of the country's GDP. Iran needs massive inflows of foreign investment in order to primarily modernize its obsolete energy infrastructure. Although Iran has world's largest gas reservoirs, the irony is such that it has to purchase gas from one of its neighbors and electricity from another neighbor to meet its demands. President Rouhani has also been criticized for failing to do the required planning or make required preparations ahead of the second phase of US sanctions on Iran. The second phase will begin in November this year. This phase of US sanctions seeks to hit Iranian crude. And we all know that Iranian crude is the single largest item on the list of Islamic Republic's export goods or commodities. China, which is the largest importer of Iranian crude, has so far shown ambivalence towards the US threats to all those who have been doing business with Tehran. But it is quite likely that China will curtail its oil imports anytime soon. Insofar, India, which is the second largest oil importer of Iranian crude, is concerned, it is also quite likely that New Delhi too will be reducing its oil import bill. The situation, therefore, is profound. Iran's economy has been suffering for the last 3 decades. Its output, the output of crude, the level of output remains the same. I mean, the Islamic State has not been, the Islamic Republic has not been able to increase the output that it had during the days of Shah. Iran's economy has been suffering for the last 3 decades, and there are a variety of reasons. One of which is its war with Iraq that lasted for nearly 8 years. That war ended in a stalemate, as there was no clear winner at the end of that war. In recent years, Iran has invested heavily, both in political and financial terms, in the Middle East and beyond, particularly after the outbreak of Arab Spring in the Arab world. Today, it is an active player in the Yemen conflict. It is also a key participant in the Syria civil war theater. It happens to be a major source of financing for Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Palestine, etc., etc. In other words, the Islamic Republic has overstretched itself. Because the size of foreign revenue receipts remains the same. There has been little or no increase in its revenues to fund its overseas objectives. Before I conclude, I would like to say that there had been calls for the impeachment of President Rouhani as well. But Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has put his foot down, rejecting all such calls. According to him, impeaching President Rouhani will amount to playing into the hands of the enemy. He is absolutely right. I agree with him totally. What is the solution? In my next episode, I will try to suggest some steps for the government in Tehran to help improve Iran's economy. Enkore hakimi nis, damane kalimi gir. Enkore hakimi nist, damane kalimi gir, sad bandaye sahil mast, yak bandaye darya mast. Thank you very much. मेरा नाम सरफराज अहमद है. My name is Sarfraz Ahmad, Minia Zabu Sarfraz Ahmad, ya Robote de Gazeta Economica. أنا سرفراز أحمد نائب رئيس التحرير في جريدة الاقتصادية كراتشي باكستان. زندباد.